What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the ever-charming Dr. Disaster. And here's something I really hate. When someone says they're gonna take an action, but they try to get out of the backlash by blaming someone else.
It wasn't me. It was the one-armed man.
And actually, in the case of Sony, who are expected to raise the prices on their PlayStation 5 consoles and most likely raise the prices of their first-party games as well, in their case, they have an obvious cause to blame everything on. When Nintendo showed us the prices of their Switch 2 and the raised prices of their games, we all knew it was just a matter of time before the other game companies joined in. A few weeks back, we learned, of course, that Microsoft was raising prices on their games and Xbox consoles, and now it looks like the PlayStation will be joining their peers by raising their prices.
We're not just doing this for money. We're doing it for a shitload of money.
But rather than make the obvious connection and say, hey, the market is changing, folks, we've seen that people are willing to pay higher prices, so we are joining with Microsoft and Nintendo in order to maximize profit. In other words, rather than be honest, these knuckle draggers are blaming the tariffs that the United States has on China. You know, the ones that were just drastically reduced as the two countries hammer out a new trade deal.
You're full of shit.
Oh yeah.
Even Nintendo has recently come out and made it public that actually the tariffs had no effect whatsoever on their pricing. As annoyed as I have been at Nintendo, I can at least respect that they've got the testicular fortitude to puff out their chest and say that this is what we're charging because we decided to do it. Don't get me wrong, they're certainly thrilled that the media has been spinning the tariffs as an explanation for the price increase, effectively providing them cover, but they themselves have not claimed this was the cause of prices going up, at least not to my knowledge. Meanwhile, Sony is doing their best to hide behind a convenient excuse.
Chicken shit?
Who you calling chicken shit?
Calling you chicken shit.
Yeah, chicken shit, chicken shit.
Alright, me hearties, make sure you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and also, please consider supporting the channel by becoming a member. I'm working on a space pirate cartoon that channel members will get access to before everyone else, and right now, channel members have access to the audiobook version of the first part of my novel, which has been well received. It's called The Darkest Heritage. It's a dark fantasy story, which will be out on Amazon soon. But anyhow, we can't just complain about the things we dislike in our culture. We have to build culture of our own. So if you want to support these types of things, consider becoming a member for as little as $5 per month. But alrighty then, let's talk about Sony threatening to raise prices due to tariffs. They'd better hurry up and raise those prices though, if they're gonna do it, because it does look like the trade war, if that's what you want to call it, between China and the US is fading away somewhat. If they aren't quick, Sony is gonna lose their excuse and they're just gonna have to do what we all know they're planning to do without the convenient scapegoat. It's unfortunate that they even feel the need to go this way at all though. As I discussed a few weeks back, after Microsoft raised their prices, this was actually a secret opportunity for Sony to really drive the final dagger into the heart of their competitors at Microsoft by not raising their prices. If their price points remained the same, if they didn't raise prices, they would have a massive competitive advantage over the others. But Sony apparently doesn't value long-term strategy so much as they value short-term gains. This is just one more reason why PC gaming is absolutely taking over. What is that old saying that gamers always use when it comes to Steam? Gabe Newell does nothing and just keeps on winning. The bozos on the console side of things are rapidly pricing themselves out of business for not much more than the cost of an Xbox Series X console. I could have a reasonable PC, for example, but let's read what Sony is saying about the tariffs causing all this trouble. This article is from Insider Gaming. It says at the bottom there, in its latest quarterly earnings, Sony has said that it's currently considering raising PlayStation 5 prices due to the current tariff situation with America. The news came from Sony CFO Lin Tao, who said that the company currently needs to find approximately 100 billion yen, equivalent to $512 million, to make up for the impact of the current tariffs. In terms of the tariffs, we are not just simply calculating the simple tariffs to come up with 100 billion yen, but are thinking about the current available information and looking at the market trend. We may pass the price to customers. And then, if we skip down to the next paragraph, it says, Sony CEO Hiroki Totoki weighed in on the tariffs to say, these hardwares can of course be produced locally. I think that would be an efficient strategy, but the PS5 is being manufactured in many areas, its components, so whether it's going to be manufactured in the US or not, it needs to be considered going forward in such a critical situation. And as a guy from the US, I gotta say, all I'm hearing from that paragraph is that Sony is considering manufacturing the PlayStation in the United States, which would bring a shitload of jobs to my country. Sounds like a good thing to me, and it also sounds like that's the sort of strategy which would largely circumvent this tariff issue. So, these tariffs are really just an excuse. As I said earlier, Nintendo confirmed that the tariffs didn't affect their decisions. This article from Bounding Into Comics just dropped, and it lays out a Q&A session that the president of the Nintendo Corporation had with investors on an earnings call. It says, when asked about how they would respond to the tariffs, the company president said, based on the assumption that tariffs would remain the same as what was announced on April 10th, we factored in a negative impact of several tens of billions of yen at the profit level into our consolidated financial forecast for the fiscal year ending March 2026. In other words, they have definitively told us here that the raised prices were not a result of tariffs. Of course, the tariffs did cause Nintendo to pause the pre-order date for the Switch 2, but that was it. And the media has been trying desperately to make this into a thing. They want people to be angry at their political rivals in the White House. They are running cover for the likes of Nintendo and Microsoft, and it is working, at least to some extent. I was talking about this a while ago, but I went into my local GameStop recently asking them how the pre-orders for the Switch 2 went, and the manager started going into a little tirade about how he's going to be super upset when the prices go shooting up because of the idiot in the White House, and I shot his ass down real quick and told him I'm not interested in his rant. But the thing is, if we want anyone to blame for why prices are going up across the board, we all know who that is. I know that in the title of this video, I wrote, "Thanks Nintendo," as if all of this was their fault, and it does suck that they started the trail of falling dominoes, but it's gamers that did this. It's us. Nintendo asked for a higher price, and gamers paid it. Sure, a bunch of us said no, but not enough. So, whether we like it or not, this is the way the industry is going. I only hope more AA studios like Sandfall, who made Claire Obscure Expedition 33 and sold it for $50, I hope that sort of thing grows in popularity in a big way. But I'm gonna leave it there. Drop your contempt for companies like Sony trying to make excuses into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.